Today, we are going to explore the dynamics that exist between your current reality and your ideal future. It is Tuesday, November 10th, 2015, and this is the first episode of Learn in Public that I have ever shot indoors. I love being able to get outside and shoot these videos at some place in Portland, sometimes just right outside my apartment door, but it feels good to be able to get outside to record these videos and share these ideas in a different space. It's becoming harder and harder to do that as winter rolls around and the rain comes in, which happens pretty much every day throughout the winter, pretty darn close here in rainy Northwest United States. And today's topic actually ties into the fact that I've had to come inside to record this video. And that has to do with the fact that I most often use this space for a different but related project, verbal to visual. And one of the reasons I enjoyed recording these Learn in Public videos outside is because it allowed for a little bit of a differentiator between those two projects of mine. Because even though those are very much related, I want them to be different in some ways. And Learn in Public isn't yet old enough for me to fully understand the exact ways in which those two projects are different and where they overlap. So there will be some continual exploration there, but I miss not being able to distinguish them via the way in which they're recorded. And with that in mind, I hopped on Craigslist yesterday and did a search in the Portland area for workspaces, and specifically for art studios. This has kind of been a slowly building dream of mine to have a space outside of my living situation, my living space, where I can go set up shop and do the work that I do with verbal to visual, with Learn in Public, and with future creative endeavors. But I can't yet afford that. It's not really in the cards. So that got me thinking about this relationship between my current reality here and my ideal future. Because what I would be able to do once I do get an art studio, a separate space, it will make it a little bit easier to carve out different parts of the room or to do more to be able to distinguish between different projects, different activities, as opposed to trying to fit it all in this one space. But that can be, even though I think it's useful to kind of know what you're working toward, in some ways I have no doubt that at some point in the relative near future I will be able to afford my own art studio, and that will kind of propel me into a new stage in my business and my creative life. So I know that's what I'm working toward, but I think there's some danger in fantasizing or thinking about that right now in the current state of my reality. So here's a bit of a sketch to kind of illustrate this idea, abstract it out a little bit, because I think it's relevant for you, whatever skill you are learning, whatever thing you want to share online, whatever project you're working on, your long-term goals. The fact that we mention long-term goals means that you have something in mind that you're working toward. There's some disconnect. Your current situation is not ideal in one way or another. And maybe you've defined what that ideal future is, and now it's a matter of working toward it. So here's a sketch to kind of help us wrap our heads around this idea and to see what's going on. So here here is our starting point. Here we are walking along this path of time, and we're moving forward. Whether we're actually walking or not, time is moving forward at a very steady and more or less constant rate. But what you're probably thinking when you are thinking about your long-term goals or imagining a future that's different than your present, there's something else going on here. What's going on is that there is this ideal future that's in front of you that you probably are already thinking about. And what I kind of like about this diagram is that to some degree it shows that I think it's worth defining for yourself what that ideal future is, but then not spending all of your time here in the present, in reality, thinking about that future. So there's kind of a mindfulness piece here to play of living in the present, in your current reality, but still knowing where you're going. So let me see if I can apply that to my situation here. For me, currently, at least one of the things that I see in my ideal future is this art studio that's independent from my living space. So having defined that as one of the things that I'm working toward, I think that to be honest, I'm debating whether or not I would even want to put this sketch above my computer on my wall here, because of that fact that I don't want to spend my time fantasizing about the day when I do have an art studio that I can go to, but instead focus on closing the gap right here between where I am and getting to this goal. So I think this is something that maybe is worth pulling out from time to time and reminding yourself what you're working toward, but really spending most of your mental, physical energy and your actual time just taking one step at a time towards that thing. So I'm gonna add one more piece to this picture to maybe get at that step-by-step piece. What I have added at the bottom of this picture here is a series of check boxes. And what I want these check boxes to represent are the steps that I will have to take in order to get to that point where I can afford my own art studio. And I'm gonna have to spend a little bit of time thinking about what exactly those check boxes represent, whether it's completing the daily goals that I set for myself, or maybe more objective measures in terms of monthly income or something of that nature. I'm gonna go ahead and check the first box, since I think that first box is defining some component of your ideal future, because I do think that is an important piece. And then from here, as I think about it, I think that the type of thing worth checking off is something that you can control. When it comes to building your thing, sharing your thing online and showing your progress, it's really easy to get caught up in somewhat superficial metrics. Number of likes on a Facebook post or a Twitter, a tweet that you put out, number of followers in any of those spaces, number of email subscribers if you have an email list. To a large degree, you don't have direct control over those things. Obviously, the work that you do, what you put out, influences the reaction that you'll get, but you can't control how popular any individual thing you put out will be. What you can control is the the thing that you put out, the thing that you make, whether you are sharing something on a regular basis or not, whether you're putting in the time and the effort. So I think that's what these checkboxes will represent for me. Still gonna have to think about the specifics of those, but some measure of whether I have completed a thing that will help me move toward this goal. My task now, and your task, is to get a little bit more specific. So if you haven't already, define for yourself one component, maybe more, of the thing that you're working toward, one piece of your ideal future, or what you think will be your ideal future. I might get here and 3 months later decide, actually, a separate art studio is not what I want. I need something a little bit different. And that's okay too if your ideas about what you want in the future change, because often you won't know until you do it and get in there and actually live out that thing. But at this point, this sounds really appealing. So that's what I'm gonna work toward. So my question to you is, what is one piece of an ideal future that you are walking toward? And equally important, what are some of the things that you can track and that you can control, that you do control, that will help you make steps toward that ideal future? Let me know what those things are in the comments below, and I will see you again soon, probably from my home studio again. And for me, this is kind of weird to admit, but this is also my bedroom. My bed is right over there, and that's part of the reason why I need a little bit of separation. I don't think that the place you sleep should necessarily be the only place that you have set up for creative work like this. So I'm gonna keep working my butt off until I can afford an art studio and start setting things up there. But at the same time, I am fairly content with life. I've got a good friend as a roommate here. I'm in Portland, no longer living with my parents, which was my situation just 4 months ago. So there, excuse me, there are these steps of progress that you can see along the way toward that ideal future. So good luck as you start to make your steps. I will be coming back to you here from the same setup for a while. That will simplify things for me a bit, again, as I work out the kinks, rough edges around building this project, Learn in Public, while also building Verbal to Visual, which has this same setup here. To me, it will actually simplify things to record both sets of videos from this place, and I'll start experimenting with ways to give each their own personality, even though I'm in the same setting here. So we'll see how that evolves. Good luck. Let me know how things are going. Till next time.